Well, Norfolk's police chief is defending his officers involved in a series of shootings over the last several days. Michael Goldsmith answered our questions about why so many shootings in a short period of time. We'll hear about that news conference in a moment, but first, a quick look at why we're here. Officer Brian Jones was shot by a man on a rampage across Norfolk back on May 30th. One of those bullets hit and killed 17-year-old Mark Rodriguez, a rising senior at Norfolk Christian School. Another officer eventually shot and killed the suspect. Now, fast forward to June 4th, an officer shot and killed 72-year-old Lawrence Fain at Calvary Towers. Police say they were serving an emergency custody order at the time. Investigators say Fain had a knife and would not drop it. The officer who shot him was not hurt. Then, 2 days later, officers killed David Latham in Park Place. Latham's family said he had a mental illness. Officers say they arrived to help, but Latham threatened them with a knife, and that's when they fired. 10 on your side's Erin Kelly is live downtown where Chief Goldsmith held a news conference.
Well, the chief said that the latest shootings are tragic. They're under investigation, and they come not long after another Norfolk police officer was killed in the line of duty. In the 10 days since Norfolk police officer Brian Jones was killed tracking down a murder suspect, Norfolk police have been involved in 2 more deadly shootings.
I would like to extend my sincere condolences to both the Fain and Latham families for the loss of their loved ones.
The first, Wednesday. Police say 72-year-old Lawrence Fain would not drop a knife when they tried to serve an emergency custody order at Calvary Towers. An officer shot and killed Fain. Then on Friday, police say 35-year-old David Latham refused to drop a knife after threatening his brother and the police. His family says he had a mental illness. An officer shot and killed Latham.
It is always the goal of the Norfolk Police Department to resolve these incidents without injury to the suspects, citizens, or officers.
Chief Michael Goldsmith does not think the loss of a fellow officer has put the force on edge, and he broke down more than 130 calls officers responded to since then without problems.
In the last 9 days, Norfolk police officers have responded to 76 weapons calls, 36 mental health calls, and 24 violent domestic calls. All of these were resolved with little incident.
The chief also said that the officers that are involved in cases like these have to go through mandatory peer counseling. He also said all officers on the force go through crisis intervention training as well as training on interacting with mentally ill. Now, coming up at 6, we know that the family of David Latham had a lot of questions about what happened. We asked the chief about some of those questions. You'll hear what he had to say coming up. Live in Norfolk, Erin Kelly, 10 on your side.
Our in-depth coverage of this developing story continues on wavy.com. You'll find more on each officer involved case, plus a timeline of events and the full unedited news conference with Chief Goldsmith. It's all on the homepage of wavy.com.